Hi there, my name's Adrian and welcome to Hyundai Power Equipment. Today we're going to look at the HYFT56 field trimmer. Right, let's go through the contents of your box then, shall we? So here we are. I've put the machine out on the table so we can all see it. First of all, you've got the head unit, the complete field trimmer itself. Also in your box you'll find a warranty registration sheet. Now you can fill this in and post it back to us, or there's also an address for the website and it can be done online as well. So that's fairly simple, but do register your warranty. Secondly, there's a comprehensive operator's manual. Now everything you need to know is in this manual, but as I said, you can go onto the website or what have you if you need any further information, or I'm sure having watched this video you won't need any more help. It also comes with spare trimming wire. There's enough to change the wire twice. Now this wire is 4 to 4.5 millimeters diameter, and the pieces you need will be 550 millimeters long, and we'll show you how to change that later. Also, you've got an Allen key here, which is for the cutting height adjustment for the head. You can raise the head up and down, which will show you that a little later. Also, in your packaging, you'll find a tube like this. It's quite easy to lose this in the box and throw it away with the rest of it. But inside the tube is your engine oil. Now, I must reiterate here, this is supplied without the engine oil in the engine, so it's imperative that you fit engine oil into the engine, and we shall show you that as well. Okay, so that's exactly what you get as the contents of your box. So the next thing, there is very little assembly with this machine. As you can see, it comes pre-assembled, pretty much everything is together, just to show you how to prepare it for use. Okay, first thing is the operator's handle. Now this will go in multiple positions depending on the height of the operator and what feels comfortable. So set it up whatever feels comfortable for yourself, and basically you just tighten up the little hand wheels on the side. So I've set it quite low here, so that would be sort of my position because I'm not a very tall chap, but if you're quite tall you might want it up higher and what have you. So once you've found the position that suits you, tighten up the two hand wheels, and there it is, that's the handle in place ready for use. When you want to store it away in your shed or whatever, you can undo them and fold it back down, and it's more compact for storage. The next thing, the pull starter here. There's no fuel in this machine and it's new out of the box, so I know it's not going to start. So you pull out the pull starter and you'll see a little pigtail here. There we are. That's in much more convenient position for you now, so that you can get to it to start it without having to bend over and what have you. So that's the pull starter in position. So that's pretty much it, ready for use. Other than the most critical thing, engine oil. Now, we talked about engine oil earlier. It comes with a bottle of engine oil. The engine oil, it does actually say on the bottle, it's going to be a 1540 or 1030 engine oil. So when you come to change the oil, if you keep the bottle, it does say what grade you need on the bottle, so that's a nice reminder. And the next thing is, this bottle could easily hold more than the engine will take. So don't just pour the whole bottle in. There is an oil level, and I shall show you that now. On the side of the engine here, let me just bring it towards myself so I can see as well, is a dipstick. Unscrew the dipstick, and you'll see on the dipstick is a serrated graduation and then a line at the top. When we pour the engine oil in, which will be from your bottle into the dipstick hole, take it nice and gently because it will back up in the hole. So just pour it gently in, perhaps half a bottle or what have you, and then check it with the dipstick. And when you check it with the dipstick, don't screw the dipstick in, place it in the hole till it stops and pull the dipstick out. And the amount of engine oil you're looking for is to the very top of these serrations. So as long as you can get to the very top of these serrations, that'll be enough engine oil. But as I say, before you test it, let it run down into the engine, otherwise you'll just be dipping into what's in the tube and the engine might not necessarily be full. So okay, we'll take it that we've poured the engine oil in, that the engine is now at the correct level, and we can screw the dipstick back in firmly. So the next thing you'll need to do, let me just spin it around so you can see, is to fill the engine with fuel, or the fuel tank with fuel. Fuel filler here, pretty straightforward, usual sort of thing. Fresh, unleaded petrol. No two-stroke oil, nothing like that. It's 4-stroke machine, fresh, unleaded petrol into the top. Don't fill it right to the very top. Leave it sort of 10-15 mil below the top of the tank and you're less likely to get spillage. If you do get spillage, obviously before starting the machine you're going to get a hot exhaust. If you've got fuel spilt around the place, you've got a likelihood of fire. So if you do get some spillage, dry it all up, make sure it's all evaporated and gone before you start the engine. And again, never refill the fuel on an engine that's hot. Again, if you spill it and it goes on a hot exhaust, you could get a fire. So wait for it to cool down, switch the engine off, then fill with fuel. Not too high, as I said, less likelihood of splashing, and once you've filled it, screw the fuel filler cap back on firmly. Okay, so we put the handle in position, we put the pull starter in position, we've added the engine oil to the correct level, and we filled it for fuel, with fuel. Now it's in a position where we're ready for use. Okay, next thing we'll do is show you the operating instructions. Okay, let's get straight on with the operating instructions. So let's turn it so we can see it. Right, first of all, you'll notice on the front of the engine here is a primer. This is effectively prepares the carburetor ready to start and injects a little bit of fuel. It's effectively like a choke. So it says on the top you press 3 times, that will be if you've already run it once or twice before, but 3 to 5 times pushing on this like so. Okay, the next thing would be to set the throttle. So fully down would be the start position. So fully down with the throttle. Then we're in a position, having put oil in, we know we've got fuel, we've primed it, we've set the throttle flat out, we can start the engine by pulling the pull starter, as simple as that. Once the engine is started, you can drop the revs back just a little so that it isn't running at its maximum. And that's the engine running, ready to go. So the next thing, we're just about to get going, we need to start the head in rotation so that it starts actually cutting. First of all, you pull this lever back, and then this effectively is a clutch which will set the head in motion. So you pull this clutch down and it will lock in position wherever you set it, but push it right down, it will lock in position. It doesn't lock when the engine isn't running, it's got to be rotating for it to lock. But once you've set that off, the head is now rotating, the engine is running, and you can push it along and cut and do whatever you want to do. When you wish to stop the head rotating, just let go of this bar, this will unlock, the head will stop rotating, and then to stop the engine, pull the throttle lever right back to the slowest position, the engine will run down to a very slow speed and stop. And that's pretty much it. So as a quick run through, start the engine, prime, throttle, start. When you wish the head to go, this lever down, clutch on, head rotates. When you want to stop, let go of that bar, head stops rotating, stop the engine, pull this lever back and the engine will stop. And that's the start and stop procedure. So next we're going to look at the cutting height adjustment and changing the cutting string on your field trimmer. So I'll just flip it up on its end so that you can see more clearly. Right, you'll see on the cutting head that you have 2 slots. There's one this side and one this side. Now, under one set of the slots, fortunately is this side, I can see 2 locking screws. Now, with the machine comes the handle, which is, for all intents and purposes, an Allen key, and that drops in. You can undo the screws, 1, 2. That loosens the head. Now, as you can see, this head will now slide up and down. If you're right down, if you're on nice smooth ground and it just needs cutting back or what have you, you could have it quite low and be cutting quite close to the ground, this being the ground level. And as you can see, it's probably cutting about 25 mil from the ground level. If it's really rough ground, you know, with lumps and bumps and goodness knows what, and you want to be cutting the weeds and not the ground, you can move it up to adjust the height up and down to whatever suits the sort of surface you're on. So once you've decided on the height you're going to cut at, back in with the Allen key and tighten the 2 screws. Missed it. There we are. Right, the next thing is changing the string. Now, when you get your machine, you'll see that it's already been threaded, such as this one has. Probably good to take a note of how it's been done. It's easier so you've got a visual clue as to how to rethread it when your string gets really short. If you've used up a lot of it and it's cut itself back through a lot of use and what have you, you'll see that you've only got a sort of an inch or 2 sticking out and it's probably time to change the string. But just take a note of how it's done. But simply, it's threaded through. Now, as I said earlier, this is 4 to 4.5 mil diameter string. I'll just remove this from here and then rethread it so you can see how it's done. 4 to 4.5 mil diameter. As you can see, there's a few new pieces that come with it to keep you going in the meantime until you can get a roll. 4 to 4.5 mil diameter, 550 mil long would be a typical amount that you'd have without wasting any, and it's the optimum length so that you're not having way too much. If you've got it too long, there's a cutting blade here, and say you were to have this piece way too long, and as it comes round, what it would do, it would cut off the excess and it would save it sort of ripping into your guard or what have you. Although it's a durable guard, it will stop this string from cutting into the guard so that it's not bashing the guard rather than the ground. But if you have it 550 mil long, as you can see, it misses the cutting string completely, and that's absolutely fine. Okay, to thread it, quite difficult for me to show. If you get one end, pass it through the outer hole of the 3. Having done that, pull a portion of the string through, and then back out through the furthest one. So you've gone through the outer 2. Now at this point, you need to pull the string through until you've got equal lengths. Having done that, you need to go back up and through the middle one. It's like tying your shoelaces really, I suppose. Back up through the middle one and back out again. Give it a nice pull, and that's pretty much your string done. As you can see, 550mm long, it's just short of the cutting blade, and it's just about optimum length. And that's how to change your string. Okay, well I think I've covered all the basics for your HYFT56 wheel trimmer, field trimmer I should say. Thank you for purchasing this product. I mean, as you can see, it's a really sturdy piece of kit and it really will eat through the vegetation. Don't forget to register your warranty. You can do this at hyundaipowerequipment.co.uk, where you'll find phone numbers, service helplines, all the rest of it, and lots of other useful hints and tips and videos. Well, I've been Adrian, thank you for watching and happy trimming.